A brand new episode of So God Happened starts now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to season 1, episode 2 of So God Happened. Now, this is a Christ-centered podcast where I talk to the young stars of tomorrow about their testimonies. So we'll get down into the nitty-gritty of what God has done for them, what He's doing now, and even perhaps what He'll do in the future. Nobody really know that, don't it? But still, my guest for today is none other than the beautiful, exceptional, intelligent Miss George Lane Queen, Kelsie Spalding. Listen, Kelsie, I don't know how to introduce Kelsie because she's a mother things. She's big on outreach, through her what's it called again?
It's my passion project, hers.
She's always impacting the lives of young girls and even young boys as well. She's a creative. She's a Louise Bennett awardee at the JCDC Festival of the Creative Arts. Talawa awardee. Like, she's just a star. She acts, she do everything. Right? So, Kelsie, you can play one little game. All right. My mama says she's okay now. Yeah. So, we're going to be doing Bible alphabet, but with a twist. We're going to be going from A to I. We have to tell a story. So how the story work is, you have to start with something biblical. For example, I could have said, ants eat the donkey body. You get what I say? The donkey will carry Jesus, so it's often put in a little biblical element. The biblical element, I never do it with because the biblical element have to start with a letter. So yeah. So the answer will have to be in the Bible and play a role. Okay. So alright. So now let's start. Adam should have never eat the apple.
The Bibles feed your soul.
Corinthians is the book that Adam should have read.
But you're not going to start with it. Don't for the same Jesus.
Esther was a wonderful queen that Eve could have learned from.
A, B, C, D, E, F. Faith brought her through.
God was the real reason that Adam was able to live after the fall.
Happy is the man that loves Jesus.
Yes. Alright, queen. Sorry. So, I've known Kelsie for years, actually. We go way back from Arden High School days. But to them, I'm going to pretend like someone don't know nothing about her. And I'm going to ask you to take us back to Don Robin primary days. Those are some trying times. So tell me take me back to younger Kelsie then, and let me know how you describe her.
How would I describe younger Kelsie? I think Kelsie was very outgoing. She was very expressive. I think I've always been expressive. So even at Donovan, I was very expressive. I was engaged in the arts. I wasn't an actor, though. I was a dancer. There are a couple of things I could say about myself. I was fun-loving. I was outgoing. I like to be outdoors. I guess there were some times when we used to get bullied in our primary school. But if we feel that part of the last year, I would say that I was just a fun-loving, outgoing personality.
All right. So we're now going through that part there. What did that bullying do to your confidence?
I think, so growing up, there was a lot of things that had caused the bullying. So I had really bad skin, and that was just such a big part. I can't ever forget that. It was such a big part of my life. And I think at some point I began to pull back. And I tell you, I'm fun-loving. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm singing, Jesus loves me, this I know. So it's just like, oh my God, this girl who was so fun-loving, who liked activities, she was pulling back, and I just hated that for me. But I think at some point, So guys, I found Jesus and I was able to express myself. But it just allowed me to pull back. And I think that's the worst thing that could happen to somebody who's fond of it. Like taking the joy from somebody who love life. No.
So did this bullying follow you into high school, or after primary school everything was okay?
Okay, so it did follow me into high school. However, in high school, I want to say I compartmentalized it. So I joined the drama club. So in grade 7, I was a little bit lost. There was bullying here and there. There was just a lot of figuring it out. But by grade 8, I joined the drama club and I just figured out how to deal with it. Like at some point, nobody could tell me who because I didn't know myself. So 6, 7.
So one day just get to know yourself. So you have to go talk to us about that unraveling, discovering identity. What was that process?
So as I said, I joined the drama club. When I joined the drama club, it was just like a space for me to express myself. I don't think I was good at the arts when I started. I was actually really bad. However, it was just like a space for me to, as I said, express myself. I was able to speak out more. I was able to just become the fun-loving person that I was when I was younger. And I think through that, I mean, I met some people in the drama, like I met you earlier. I met some people in the drama club who also poured into me. They introduced me to Jesus. And I think with those layers of things that were happening, I was able to find myself.
All right. But prior to that, you had some friendships. Talk to me about the dynamic. Talk to me about the dynamic of
I didn't have those friendships. You know, when you enter high school, it's a new space, and you're like, oh my God, there are these big personalities. And I am somebody who gravitates to big personalities and just extravagant doings. However, in gravitating towards them now, I realized that they weren't really aligning with who I was. You know, these people were a little bit more outside and flamboyant. And I was not so developed at that time to be acknowledging stuff like that. So I think at some point I did gravitate towards them. And then in the relationships, I realized that me just did feel so out of place. Like this chair we are sitting upon, you comfortably now, but me not feel very comfortable. Me feel out of place. And I think at some point I just had to pull apart. It wasn't an easy pull apart though, because of I said that their personalities are big. It wasn't an easy pull apart. I think when I was trying to do the pull apart, it did become rocky and nasty, but I had to figure it out.
All right. So what was the thing that pulled you into God though? What was that so God happened moment?
My so God happened moment. There was a lot of things that were happening in my life. I think I had like a lot of disruptions with my family. There was just a lot of pull and drag. My dad had passed, and I think after my dad passed, it literally just started a mountain for people. I don't know how else to put it. Because I think when my father passed, my grandfather passed, my brother had passed. So it was just like people were dying left, right, and center. And I was like, that was not my so that happened moment. Because I was like, there cannot be a God and I'm going through this so continuously. No, you can't tell me, say I saw it work. And I think at some point I was just so lost. I was so lost. Like, I was like, I don't feel like myself. I cannot acknowledge myself. I don't know who I am. Like, the world just feels like a bubble and I'm just walking in space. And I was invited to church. I was invited to church, young people. I was invited to church, and when she invited me to church, it was just so beautiful. I met God. I was able to reconnect with God. We had a whole conversation. I remember the Pastor Junior Tucker.
Pastor Junior Tucker.
Yeah, he had said to me that you're home. Jesus is telling me to tell you that you're home. And I really felt home. I felt like I was home in the house of God. So that's my soul that happened.
So was that a linear process? You know, you go from this little girl who the outside world is kind of stifled who you are, and eventually there's some sort of discovery. But what happened after or during the discovery? Was it just you figure out everything? Like, No.
So I'm still a grown person, I'm a young person. So there was just a lot of moments. I said it. There's a lot of moments where I was like, this cannot be God. There cannot be a God that's existing.
This is while you were a Christian.
This is why I was like, there cannot be a God that's existing. And I'm feeling this way. I was like, there's some moments where I'm like, God, you are showing up and you're a good God. You're a great God.
Do you remember a specific situation after you got baptized that made you say, yeah, man, I'm not sure about that God thing no more?
So this is actually recently in the middle of me transitioning from high school to university. No, though I don't want to get into the details of what happened, I had to pull out from my house. This is my home, the home that I know, and I had to leave there, and then there was just this big section of figuring it out.
For sure to high school.
So to high school, I'm 19 years old, and I need to start life on my own at this point. Kelsie needs to figure out life, and she has to do it properly, and she has to pay her tuition, she has to find housing, she has to go to school, she has to survive, she has to eat. And all of these things are happening, and it's like, God, I'm getting a reason now.
Sometimes you have to put him to shame.
I said, God, I'm getting a reason. Because we had a whole conversation about this. Oh no.
Not the queen.
Not the queen.
It's okay, fix it, queenie.
I don't know where the back is. But let me just continue.
Mm-hmm.
We had a whole conversation about this. And we have a whole conversation about going to university, what we're going to do, how we're going to figure it out. And now I'm here.
Oh, everything just mash up.
And everything just mash up. And I said, God, this can't be it. This can't be it. Maybe if I transition through high school like this. No. And I think at some point, I had to realize what God was doing. There was a movement that was supposed to happen in my life for me to reach out and help young people. And I just could not be in the same space that I was. I could not be situated at the same place. My mindset had to change. My basically I have to grow up so I could step into my purpose of helping people. And sometimes I look back and I say, God, sorry. God, sorry, but,
It's a beautiful story there, how God basically put her in the fire. You see that song Refine? I never used to sing it when I go to church because I did too afraid. But that's a refining process, Kelsie.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. Like, you are an inspiration to young girls everywhere. You're an inspiration to me. The way that you walk through life boldly, with joy. Kelsie, I see you go through some things. I see you smile. After you done crash out, you smile. You're ready to uplift others in the middle of the storm. God has anointed you for greatness.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the big things that you do in this life.
Thank you.
So thank you so much over there for joining me today. The team, as always, watch the credits to see all of them names because I'm a star. And I just want to say, if there's anyone out there who is struggling, who would like to know more about God, DM me. Drop something in the comments and I will reach out. If I can't help you, I can definitely point you in the direction of someone who can. I'll see you in the next video.